section is 20 minutes, cover 4 different topics. Starting from the typical, I think, the motivation why we doing together with the partner for the NGCO. So the opportunity of the challenge today, the carrier face. Based on that, we propose the architecture, and also collaborate with the different level of the partner. Some of them infrastructure, some of them in the BNF, and some of them in the management, and I come up with all the whole solution stack. And the next section will cover all the detail about all the individual partner, what they are doing. And we summarize with the whole portfolio that QCT today we built. Followed by what we're planning doing for this year as a closing. So first, going over the motivation. I think as everybody talking about the transformation always in the industry going over a certain level of transformation. But if there's doesn't worry why you guys worry about the transformation. But I think as today, look at the telco. There's actually in front there's some opportunity, but in the back there's some basic operation issue. So I would say that, for example, CapEx, OpEx always the issue. There's in some way that you want to invest in the 5G infrastructure, but the other way is how you reduce the overall cost. Normally it's OpEx or the CapEx, always the issue, right? And everybody talking about the 5G as during the morning, you already see a lot of the people mention about 5G in the coming year, 2020 or the following years. So in some way, 5G definitely is technology innovation. Bring us a lot of the promise into the customer. But also, I think even more the beauty side is it actually create some of the service. The service come up with a new service model. The new service model eventually can bring in the new service revenue for the carrier. So that's the area a lot of the carrier is very interested about that. But how you guys do moving forward that? Infrastructure-wise, how you guys can support for that? So that's the motivation. And also, with the 5G infrastructure in place, one of the very important one of the important area the carrier feel interested even more is regarding moving the compute, moving the resources, moving the service from the back-end the data center in front to the edge. Normally the edge is the so-called the far edge or the central office, or even to the enterprise edge. So edge computing promising create a new portfolio of the service, which eventually can improve the overall the industry, right? So that's the other area so some people care. And finally, we're doing the carrier business, always worry about the connectivity. With the fixed line in place today, mobile growing every year, how you guys and manage the infrastructure, how you guys can balance the infrastructure between the fixed and the mobile, the converge from the resources, why it can make the carrier it's easier to manage the resources is also the challenge. At the end of the day, the coverage, that's the promise also coming from the 5G, and with even more the deployment, the base station, the 5G DU, CU infrastructure, that improve the overall coverage. That's also the areas of the carrier looking for. So in general, that's the all in all can summarize into one area save money for the carrier, the other area make money for the carrier. Central office, why we care? Why we care? And not opposite care. Actually, as you look at the community, you actually heard from the OPNFE share with the VCO. You also heard the ONF, which whole project is lasting for almost 2 years. Why everybody care about the central office? I think it's one of the strategic positioning for him. Yes, it's the midpoint between the carrier backend data center and also the front end, the edge from the customer side. This also the area that's the starting point to deploy the edge computing. For that reason, the service itself is actually very comprehensive, cover a lot of different kind of the service. But actually, to one location, how you guys deploy the service, how you guys have the infrastructure support the service. So service, the versatility is also, the one side is a beauty, the other side is a challenge. So central office sitting in between us in that strategic position, that is the area versus the cloud service provider, the OTT vendor. That's actually the strategic asset for the carrier. Challenge for them, there's, as I mentioned, there's quite a lot of services. So how you guys can, develop and deploy, and the title market. So the agility and the provision is definitely on top of the list. And in order to support longer term the service life cycle, scalability and expansion, that's also the operational issue. And in order to doing that, versus the incumbent approach, people looking for some of the transformation, can we do it even more the agility? So you need the infrastructure to can support for that. So that's also the motivation for them looking for the alternative, looking for the new innovation in that area. Eventually, they don't want specific lock into the vendor or the architecture. So that's always the debate, disaggregation versus the integration. There's a beauty as from the integration, the quality, and somehow the end-to-end deployment, but also the locking into the specific architecture of the vendor. That's a worry in turn, the longer term, the operation. So the balance between the disaggregation and integration is always the challenge, and end up the tied to service. You need some way to automate the process to deploy the service and manage the service when there's going on some quality kind of the improvement. So automation, I would say that for the coming years, that will be the big challenge, and also quite a lot of the community effort, some multi-vendor the collaborations in that area. So based on that, QCT discussing with quite a lot of the technology vendor. So the past year, back and forth, we are in the infrastructure labor, in the platform labor, in the VNF labor. We talk a lot of different vendor. Eventually, we come up with the architecture for the next generation central office. The next generation central office basically, actually, as you can see, that's comprised in 3 different pieces. Fundamentally, it's built up based on the existing x86 platform with the virtualization function with the certain level of the platform level of the awareness, and also the performance improvement, the packet processing, the throughput. That's the base for the infrastructure. With the infrastructure deploy, you need to make sure the infrastructure itself can support the up tier, the different the VNF. So in order to ensure that the quality, ensure the longer term that you get the vendor level of the support. So we work with some of the best-in-class VNF partner. So back and forth, we work with them, deploy, onboarding, optimization, management, and go into the full scale of the orchestration. So that's 3 different pieces. That's comprise the architecture we propose. So let's look at the infrastructure first. The infrastructure, as I mentioned, based on the x86, with some of the detailed label of the platform feature, so which including the DPDK, data plan acceleration, SRIOV, and some of the requirement coming from the service carrier, service provider carrier. They are regarding about the end-to-end, the service assurance. So that's the area we collaboration quite a lot with the Intel, and also in order to ensure that all the features can be presented through the infrastructure software, based on the ETSI model. You guys know that the VM itself together with the OpenStack as the full-blown the stack to support quite a lot of the different features necessary for infrastructure management. So here, based on the collaboration with the Red Hat, huge page, CPU pinning, NUMA balance, NUMA tuning, ensure that eventually the overall platform can be leveraged by the up tier the VNF partner, and also in order to ensure the quality of the end-to-end integration. So with a certain level of the functional labor, feature labor, performance labor validation and evaluation, that's we adopt with the OpenNFVI the test suite and back and forth bring that into the individual testing. And not only stop there, so we also are looking for the other vendor labor of the testing validation feature and bring that into the framework. So that's comprise the overall the infrastructure for the NFV. So the overall the purpose is for the scalability and the quality. And as I mentioned, to ensure the delivery is a quality, so bring in the project from the OpenNF, including the fun test, yardstick, and NFV bench that provide a different test topology, including the VN to VN, including the physical to VN to physical. That's a different level of the testing that we will implement into the infrastructure. In that, as the base, on the production level, you want to know exactly how good it is. So with the telemetry framework, so here are some, we see 3 levels of the telemetry, coming from the hardware label, coming from the infrastructure software label, also coming from the VNF level. We collect up and sending over to the backend, the analytical engine. Analytical engine itself can come up with the data that provide the guidance to do the certain level of the orchestration. So that's the whole framework for the telemetry and also the service assurance. And moving forward, based on the different requirement, we'll adopt into the other analytical engine, and eventually with the machine learning or deep learning kind of the intelligence that can set-tune the infrastructure to provide the closed-loop automation. So that's pretty much the framework that ensure on the production that you get the performance we promise. And with that in place, so we needed the real VNF be deployed, be onboarding on that. So different use cases coming from the mobile, from the residential, from the enterprise. So we got the best in class, the vendor, including the Elastic for the broadband, for the BNG, with the Quill in the end-to-end video service deployed in the different location, and also with the different kind of the network function, security, and also the CCNAT from the F5. So that comprises the residential use case. For the mobile use case, with the R3 in the next generation mobile core that provide the CAP architecture base, so you can scale the system based on the different demanding coming from the real end user. And with the front, the releases, and the buy sale come up with the RAN offering. That's to the access from the user mobile device. And also using the Quills as the end-to-end demonstration about deploy the video service in different locations. And that's for the mobile use case. And for the enterprise, some net Elastic for their PE, and also integrate with the CDN service from the Quill. That's comprise the different use case for the different mobile, residential, and enterprise. And also with all in that, have the assistant structural to management that can provide the flexibility to provision the resources in terms of compute, in terms of networking, in terms of virtual resources. We work with the Lumina that provide the SDN controller that can make sure that they can deliver the service. So that's the structure for the overall the NGCO. So next, I will go very, very quick about the individual partner that we work with them. So for SDN, work with Lumina. They providing the topology forwarding automation and network virtualization, which can provide the end-to-end management for the from the virtual to the physical data plane management. With the F5, the CCNet, the security, and also the firewall, that provide the requirement based on the enterprise use case and based on the residential use case. And also using the Spirent cloud trace, bringing the commercial label of the tester quality into lab. And also with the NetCorp, that can, using the FPGA coming from the Intel, provide the two levels of the acceleration. One is the security, the other one is in the different workload. In here, we actually have two use cases, one for mobile, one for the broadband. And also with the R3, using the R3, the next generation mobile core, the per socket we can deliver up to the 200 gigabit per second. That's almost the theoretical performance from the CPU. With the Radisys and Intel comprise the end-to-end network access from the radio side. And also the fixed line access with the NetElectric with per socket can deliver up to the 120 gigabit per second. That's today. We also work with them using the 25 gig NIC that eventually will deliver the even more the bandwidth in that area. And with that in place, so have the centralized the control plane together, we can based on the resources and also the demanding that we can adjust the requirement coming from the mobile and the fixed line that provide a certain level of the convergence in the real production environment. So all in all, that's we are a company with this vendor go through the deployment, onboarding, optimization, validation, telemetry, automation, and eventually the whole life cycle, the service opportunity. That's the work that we collaborate with the different partner, and with the real end-to-end use case. That, as I mentioned, the video using the CDN as the case that we work with Quill, can deliver their solution to the different location across the far edge, central office, and to the data center. So that's the real demo that you can see the with and without the quality from the video delivery. And come up with all the information into our NGCO, the dashboard. So look at that including the NFVI information, fixed information, mobile information, and eventually some of the log information coming from individual VNF. And also integrate that with the end use case with the VCDN coming from the Quill. So all of those efforts is pretty much all the detail about the NGCO. All the detail individually vendor will share you later as about the design behind that. So end up coming with the whole portfolio we deliver. So I think as I will go quick for that. So all of those cover the center, regional data center, central office, edge, and also on-prem side. That's the product family for the server, also the product family for switch. Cover the programmable switch, deep buffer, and also the TLR switch in the data center. Okay. That's come up with the overall framework we present to the audience. So that's cover all the different level of the integration we did with this vendor. All right. So with the support with this wonderful partner, eventually we kick off the NGCO today. So that's a fantastic work. Thank you for all your collaboration. And eventually, we want to deliver quality to the customer. That's the promise. Okay. So next day, all the demo we actually will have that in the coming Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. That's next month, right? So we'll see you there. So all the reg solution will deploy in the Intel booth. All the detailed process we actually showcase in our booth. So you can go to the Intel booth, see the live demo. You can go our booth to see all the detailed introduction for that. And that's moving forward. We'll bring the NGCO to everywhere. So to the state first, to the China is the next step. also consider to the Europe. And also we're planning some of the feature for the coming year. One more thing. Sorry, I occupied too much, but one more thing I need to share with you. All the good things that you actually probably already got the lab tour during the lunchtime, but it's not easy for every customer to come to our lab to have the field experience of all the function we present here. So if customer want to do demo, solution showcase, feature validation, performance evaluation, proof of concept, what you can do? What you can do today? Have the hardware, install the software, right? Have the individual VNF onboarding, and I'm managing for that. It's not easy, right? Eventually, it takes a lot of time and the money to deploy for that. So in order to minimize the unnecessary effort from you guys, we formally introduced the Try QCT. It's a remotely accessed POC center. So take this QR code, register, you can have the experience, the real experience coming from your side to access the facility, sitting here and in Taiwan. Thank you for all your effort. I think it's the starting point for us. I think moving forward, we are even more the integration effort with a different level of the partner. And also, on the coming section, all the detail individual partner will share with you. And also, come to visit the individual booths outside. That you can ask their partner. They are willing to help you to go over all the detail. Let's end up my section. Thank you for your attention and enjoy the event, and hope you enjoy yourself today. Thank you.